She's perfect. No friends, military brat, parents too busy to ask questions. Garrett Ashford's voice carries through the Jefferson High bathroom with casual cruelty that chills the blood. His words continue with practiced confidence. Same as the last 7. By Monday, she'll transfer out just like the others, and Daddy's campaign stays clean. The silence that follows stretches for exactly 8 seconds before his tone shifts to something that might actually be fear. Wait! What is that? We need to leave. Now! Through the security feed, 4 shadows back away from something off-camera, their faces wearing expressions of terror that suggests their perfect system has just encountered something they never prepared for. I'm building a community of parents who care deeply about school safety and protecting our children. If you also believe that every child deserves to learn in a safe environment, hit like so we can raise awareness about these critical issues together. Subscribe to receive more stories about how we can protect and empower the next generation. And if you understand the importance of educating our community about these matters, the thanks button will help me continue bringing stories that might save a child somewhere. Because what Sage discovered in that boy's bathroom that day would change everything. Sage Fletcher adjusts the strap of her worn military-style backpack as she navigates the pristine hallways of Jefferson High, her gray eyes automatically cataloging exit points and potential threats, a habit drilled into her by 17 years of military base living. The Virginia school's gleaming trophy cases and motivational posters feel alien after a childhood spent moving from one secure facility to another. Her father's vintage military watch ticks steadily on her wrist, its worn leather band a comforting weight against her skin as she counts the seconds until her next class. The hallways buzz with the particular energy of a Friday afternoon. Students cluster around lockers, their conversations a mixture of weekend plans and homecoming gossip that flows around Sage like water around a stone. She keeps her head down, dark hair falling across the intricate tattoo that peeks above her collar. A detail most assume is just an elaborate temporary design, part of the new girl's attempt to fit in. 3 days into her tenure at Jefferson High, Sage has already identified the school's power structure with military precision. At the apex sits what students whisper about as the Elite Four: Garrett Ashford, whose mayoral candidate father's campaign posters smile from every street corner; Bryce Hawthorne, whose uncle's police cruiser idles outside the school each morning like a territorial marker; Blake Sterling, whose mother's influence on the school board has shaped policy for a decade; and Knox Blackwell, whose family's construction company built half the county and owns the loyalty of the other half. The bathroom incident happens during the chaos of class change, when 600 students flood the corridors in a tide of noise and motion. Sage, consulting her schedule while walking, takes a wrong turn and pushes through a door marked with faded blue paint. The mistake becomes clear immediately. Urinals line the far wall, and 4 familiar figures turn from their conversation near the sinks. Well, well. Garrett's voice carries the particular confidence of someone who's never faced real consequences. His perfectly styled blonde hair catches the harsh fluorescent light as he steps forward, flanked by his companions like a pack closing ranks. New girl doesn't know where she belongs. Sage's training kicks in automatically. Assess threats, identify escape routes, calculate odds. 4 against 1 in an enclosed space with only one exit, their body language suggesting coordinated action rather than spontaneous harassment. This isn't bullying, it's hunting. I made a mistake, she says calmly, taking a measured step toward the door. Her voice carries none of the fear they expect, which seems to surprise Bryce enough that he moves to block her path. Mistake? Knox laughs, his phone already recording what he clearly expects to be entertainment. His social media empire has built its foundation on humiliation, and new material always drives engagement. The only mistake is thinking you can just walk away. Blake, the supposed intellectual of the group, adjusts his wire-rimmed glasses with practiced precision. Maybe she needs help understanding how things work around here, he suggests, his tone carrying the clinical detachment of someone conducting an experiment. The attack unfolds with the coordinated efficiency of a practiced routine. Garrett grabs her backpack while Bryce and Knox block the exit, their movements suggesting this dance has been performed before. Blake produces his phone to capture what they clearly consider another conquest, another story to add to their collection. Sage doesn't resist as they shove her against the cold tile wall. Her military training includes lessons about when to fight and when to gather intelligence. And these four are revealing more about themselves with every second. Their confidence borders on arrogance, their casual cruelty suggesting institutional protection rather than fear of consequences. When Garrett's hands tear at her jacket, exposing the elaborate tattoo that covers her right shoulder blade, their entire dynamic shifts. The intricate design isn't some teenage rebellion. It's a military insignia surrounded by symbols that speak to those who know how to read them. Special forces, psychological operations, a heritage of service that runs deeper than their shallow understanding of power. The silence stretches for those crucial 8 seconds captured on camera. 4 boys who've never encountered anything they couldn't buy, threaten, or destroy suddenly face something beyond their comprehension. Sage watches their faces change. Confusion first, then recognition, then something that might actually be fear. Her father's watch chooses that moment to stop. Its steady tick falling silent at exactly 2:47 p.m. The sound seems to echo in the sudden quiet, a temporal marker that will divide her life into before and after. "You saw my tattoo," she says quietly, her voice carrying undertones they can't quite place. "And now you know your time is up." The Elite Four's retreat happens in stages. First, Knox's phone wavers, then Blake steps back. Finally, Bryce moves away from the door. Only Garrett holds his ground, his political instincts warring with something that might be wisdom. "This isn't over," he whispers, but his voice carries uncertainty now. The power dynamic has shifted in ways his privileged mind struggles to process. Sage straightens her torn jacket, her movements deliberate and controlled. "No," she agrees. "It's just beginning." The weekend passes in deceptive quiet, while social media erupts with carefully edited versions of Friday's confrontation. Knox's video editing skills transform their retreat into apparent victory, crafting a narrative where the new girl was put in her place by Jefferson High's unofficial royalty. The story spreads through group chats and private messages, building momentum for Monday's inevitable escalation. But Sage spends those 48 hours doing what she does best, gathering intelligence. Her military upbringing taught her that information is the most potent weapon, and Jefferson High's power structure has more vulnerabilities than its defenders realize. Monday morning brings the Elite Four's coordinated response. Students who smiled at Sage last week now avert their eyes, their phones buzzing with messages that paint her as dangerous, unstable, possibly violent. The campaign unfolds with the precision of psychological warfare. Rumors about her military family dysfunction, questions about why she transferred mid-semester, suggestions that her tattoos indicate gang affiliation rather than service heritage. Principal Davidson calls her to his office during second period, his nervous energy filling the space between his mahogany desk and inspirational posters. The man who should be her advocate has clearly already chosen sides. His questions probe for weakness, for some admission that might justify whatever action he's already decided to take. "The Ashford family has expressed concerns," he says carefully, his words chosen with the precision of someone walking through a minefield, "about incidents that might affect school climate." Sage sits quietly, her hands folded, watching him squirm under the weight of his own cowardice. This is a man who has spent his career avoiding difficult decisions, who has risen to authority through accommodation rather than leadership. "What incidents?" she asks, her tone neutral. She knows exactly what incidents, but watching him try to explain reveals more about the school's power structure than any direct investigation could uncover. Davidson's explanation becomes increasingly convoluted as he tries to justify punishing the victim without acknowledging the crime. His office walls display awards for educational excellence, but his stammered words reveal a system more interested in maintaining quiet than ensuring safety. The conversation ends without resolution, but Sage leaves with crucial intelligence. The Elite Four's parents have already moved to protect their children, which means they know exactly what happened in that bathroom. More importantly, their speed suggests this protection protocol has been activated before. Claire Murphy intercepts Sage in the hallway outside Davidson's office, her counselor's badge providing cover for what she clearly intends as a covert conversation. The older woman's eyes carry the particular exhaustion of someone who has fought this system before and knows its weaknesses. "Walk with me," Claire says quietly, leading Sage toward the library. Her casual manner masks urgent purpose, and her chosen route avoids security cameras with practiced precision. The library's back corner provides privacy amid walls of forgotten textbooks and outdated computer equipment. Claire's whispered words carry the weight of years spent watching good intentions crumble against institutional inertia. "You're not the first," she begins, her voice barely audible above the building's ambient noise. "And you won't be the last, unless something changes." She produces a manila folder from her oversized purse, its contents carefully organized despite the secrecy required to gather them. Police reports that were buried, medical records that somehow disappeared, transfer requests that were fast-tracked to avoid uncomfortable questions. 7 girls in 3 years, Claire continues, her professional composure cracking slightly. Same pattern, same protection, same silence. The system works exactly as designed, to protect the powerful and abandon the vulnerable. Sage studies the documents with trained eyes, noting patterns that confirm her suspicions. The Elite Four's predatory behavior has been enabled by a network of adult complicity that extends far beyond the school. Parents, administrators, law enforcement, all working in careful coordination to maintain a fiction of innocence while victims are systematically silenced. "Why show me this?" Sage asks, though she already knows the answer. Claire is recruiting an ally, someone with both the skills and motivation to do what she cannot. "Because you're different," Claire replies, her eyes focusing on the tattoo visible above Sage's collar. "And because silence is killing these girls one soul at a time." The conspiracy of protection becomes clearer with each document. The Elite Four operate with impunity because their families control the mechanisms of accountability. The mayor's influence extends into law enforcement. The police chief's loyalty protects his nephew. The school board member's authority shapes institutional response. And the contractor's money lubricates every level of the system. "There's someone else you need to meet," Claire says, gathering her papers with practiced efficiency. Her next words carry particular weight. "Someone who served with your father." Jake O'Connor's janitor uniform provides perfect camouflage for someone conducting surveillance throughout Jefferson High. His veteran's posture and observant eyes mark him as more than a simple custodian, and his chosen cleaning schedule allows him access to areas and information that others overlook. Their meeting happens in the school's basement maintenance area, surrounded by the building's mechanical heartbeat of heating systems and electrical panels. Jake's weathered hands show the particular scars of military service, and his recognition of Sage's heritage creates immediate trust. "Sergeant Major Fletcher's daughter," he says without preamble, his voice carrying the respect one warrior shows another. "I served under your father in Afghanistan. Good man. Taught me everything I know about reading people and situations." The basement conversation reveals Jake's dual role, ostensibly maintaining the building while actually documenting the corruption that thrives within its walls. His access to security systems and administrative areas has allowed him to gather evidence that official investigations somehow never uncover. "They think janitorial staff are invisible," Jake explains, producing a tablet loaded with video files. "Amazing what people say and do when they think nobody's watching." The footage tells the story Claire's documents could only suggest. Elite Four coordination meetings in empty classrooms, parent phone calls arranging cover-ups, administrator conferences planning victim management strategies. The casual nature of their corruption suggests years of practice, a system refined through repetition and success. "Your father would be proud," Jake says quietly, watching Sage process the evidence. "You've got his eyes, sees everything, judges nothing, plans accordingly." But Jake's next revelation carries devastating weight. Emma Walsh, the seemingly friendly girl who has been Sage's only genuine connection at Jefferson High, appears in several videos coordinating with Garrett. Her role as information source becomes clear through intercepted text messages and recorded conversations that reveal every detail of Sage's daily routine, every vulnerable moment, every trust she's extended. The betrayal cuts deeper than the Elite Four's obvious hostility. Emma's friendship felt real, offering hope that not every connection would be weaponized. Learning that her kindness was calculated, that her questions were intelligence gathering, that her smiles masked strategic deception, this knowledge transforms Sage's understanding of her own isolation. "Emma's been Garrett's primary asset since freshman year," Jake explains, his tone carrying professional respect for effective operational security. "She identifies targets, builds trust, then feeds intelligence back to the team. Classic honey trap technique." The revelation explains everything: how the Elite Four always seemed to know Sage's schedule, her preferences, her emotional state. Emma's casual questions about family, background, and plans were careful reconnaissance disguised as friendship. "They know I'm military trained," Sage realizes, her tactical mind processing the implications. Her cover as just another transfer student has been completely compromised. "They know more than that," Jake confirms, his expression grim. "Emma reported your psychological profile, your physical capabilities, your potential threat level. They're not treating this as ordinary harassment anymore. They're treating it as warfare." The weight of systematic betrayal settles around them in the mechanical basement quiet. Sage has faced enemies before, but never ones who wore the mask of friendship while plotting her destruction. The week accelerates toward homecoming with the particular intensity that only high school can generate. Decorations appear in hallways, while Emma continues her performance as concerned friend, offering comfort for problems she helped create. Every interaction becomes a double-edged moment where Sage must respond naturally, while knowing each word will be analyzed and reported. Garrett's confidence returns as his intelligence network feeds him information about Sage's growing isolation. His father's mayoral campaign provides perfect cover for expanding their influence, while his mother's social connections ensure that community support crystallizes around protecting good boys from troubled girls. The Elite Four's strategy unfolds across multiple fronts simultaneously. Social media campaigns that paint Sage as unstable, parent meetings that raise concerns about outside influences, administrative pressure that suggests transfer might be best for everyone involved. Each element builds toward homecoming weekend, when their victory can be celebrated publicly. But Sage's own preparations proceed with military precision. Her father's training included lessons about asymmetric warfare, about turning enemy strengths into weaknesses, about victory through superior intelligence rather than superior force. The Elite Four's confidence becomes their vulnerability, their systematic approach, their predictability. Friday afternoon brings the first direct escalation since the bathroom incident. Knox corners Sage near her locker, his phone recording what he clearly expects to be a humiliation for his growing audience. "Ready to apologize?" he asks, his voice carrying performative confidence. The hallway around them has cleared, as students sense impending confrontation. Sage's response comes with perfect calm. For what? The question seems to confuse him, as if the answer should be obvious. His prepared speech stumbles as he realizes she isn't following the script he expected. "For causing problems," he says finally, "for making people uncomfortable, for not understanding how things work around here." "I understand perfectly," Sage replies, her voice carrying undertones that make Knox's confident smile waver. "You're about to learn the same thing." Her words carry weight that Knox can't interpret, but his phone captures the moment for later analysis. The video will be dissected frame by frame, studied for signs of weakness or vulnerability, shared throughout their network as evidence of her continuing defiance. But Sage's real message isn't for Knox. It's for Jake O'Connor, whose security camera system captures every word. The coded language confirms that her own preparations have reached their next phase. That homecoming weekend will bring revelations the Elite Four never expected. The warning lands exactly as intended, setting in motion the final sequence of events that will transform Jefferson High's power structure forever. The reckoning Sage promised is about to begin, and the Elite Four's systematic cruelty is about to meet something they never prepared for. The trained precision of military justice applied with personal stakes. As the school emptied for homecoming weekend, none of them realized that the real battle was just beginning. The camera footage that started everything would soon be joined by evidence that would expose not just the Elite Four, but the entire network of adults who enabled their predation. Homecoming week arrives with the manufactured enthusiasm that only American high schools can generate. Banners stretch across hallways, while Spirit Week activities mask the careful preparations happening in Jefferson High's shadows. Sage moves through the festivities like a ghost, her presence acknowledged but not welcomed, her isolation complete except for the secret alliance growing beneath the surface. Emma Walsh continues her performance with Academy Award precision. Her concerned questions about Sage's weekend plans probe for intelligence, while her helpful suggestions about avoiding certain areas map the Elite Four's territorial boundaries. Every conversation becomes a chess match, where Sage must respond naturally, while feeding carefully selected information back through Emma's network. "You should really try to fit in better," Emma suggests during lunch, her voice carrying manufactured sympathy. "Maybe if you just apologized to Garrett for the misunderstanding, things could go back to normal." Sage's response comes with calculated vulnerability. "Maybe you're right. I just want this to be over." The words land exactly as intended, traveling through Emma's communication channels to reach Garrett within minutes. His confidence swells as he interprets Sage's apparent surrender as validation of their systematic approach. The Elite Four's group chat buzzes with victory celebrations, their arrogance growing with each message that discusses her inevitable capitulation. But Sage's real conversation happens in the basement maintenance area, where Jake O'Connor's surveillance equipment has captured weeks of Elite Four planning sessions. Their recorded discussions reveal not just past crimes, but detailed preparations for homecoming weekend's finale. They've planned what they call the farewell party, a public humiliation designed to drive Sage out permanently while cementing their reputation as untouchable. "They're getting sloppy," Jake observes, reviewing footage from hidden cameras throughout the school. Success has made them overconfident, and overconfidence creates opportunities. Claire Murphy joins them with additional intelligence gathered from administrative channels. Principal Davidson's office conversations reveal the full scope of institutional complicity. The homecoming assembly will provide cover for whatever the Elite Four have planned, with administrative approval already secured through carefully applied family pressure. The perfect storm, Claire says grimly, her counselor's training allowing her to read the psychological dynamics at play. They think they've won, which means they'll take risks they wouldn't normally consider. Sage studies the tactical situation with military precision. The homecoming assembly represents both maximum danger and optimal opportunity. 600 students packed into an auditorium, live streaming capabilities for proud parents, media coverage of the mayor's family participation. The perfect venue for public revelation rather than private destruction. We turn their strength against them, she decides, her father's training providing strategic framework. They want a public spectacle, so we give them one they'll never forget. The plan unfolds across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Jake's technical expertise provides surveillance and recording capabilities, Claire's administrative access enables strategic positioning, and Sage's psychological warfare training ensures that every Elite Four weakness becomes a tactical advantage. Emma's continued intelligence gathering becomes a weapon in their hands. Her reports to Garrett paint Sage as increasingly isolated and vulnerable, while her questions reveal the exact timing and location of their planned assault. Every detail Emma provides is carefully calculated to feed the Elite Four's overconfidence, while positioning resources for maximum impact. Tuesday afternoon brings the first direct challenge to their operational security. Bryce Hawthorne appears in the maintenance area, his police connections having identified unusual activity in the school's surveillance systems. "Interesting setup you've got down here," he says to Jake, his tone carrying implied threats. His uncle's badge provides authority that most adults wouldn't challenge. Jake's response comes with veteran calm. "Just keeping the building secure, son. Lots of valuable equipment to protect." The confrontation tests their cover story while revealing how deeply police corruption extends. Bryce's casual assumption of authority suggests years of watching his uncle use official power for personal benefit. His probing questions seek evidence of resistance, while his body language promises retaliation for any discovery. "My uncle says surveillance can be dangerous," Bryce continues, his words carrying multiple meanings, especially when people don't understand what they're recording. "Your uncle's a wise man," Jake replies, his military bearing never wavering. "I'm sure he knows the importance of following proper procedures." The verbal dance continues for several minutes, each man testing the other's resolve while carefully avoiding direct confrontation. Bryce leaves with suspicions but no proof, while Jake gains valuable intelligence about law enforcement awareness of their activities. Wednesday evening brings Emma's most crucial intelligence mission. Her task is determining Sage's exact psychological state and potential for resistance during Friday's planned assault. The conversation happens in the school parking lot, surrounded by homecoming decorations and the innocent chaos of teenage social drama. "I'm really worried about you," Emma begins, her performance flawless as always. Her eyes carry manufactured concern, while her questions probe for operational intelligence. Sage's response reveals carefully calculated vulnerability. "Everything feels hopeless. Maybe transferring would be easier than fighting." "I'm genuinely curious about Sage's situation. If your child faced a bullying group with systematic family protection, what would you advise them to do? Share your experiences in the comments, because how Sage handles this situation might surprise you." Emma's relief at Sage's apparent surrender shows in micro-expressions that confirm her true loyalties. Her follow-up questions reveal the Elite Four's Friday timeline, while her suggestions about staying homesick attempt to ensure Sage's absence during their planned victory celebration. Garrett just wants closure, Emma explains, her words revealing more than she realizes. Maybe if you wrote him a letter apologizing, this could all end peacefully. The suggestion confirms intelligence gathered from surveillance. The Elite Four plan to force Sage into written admission of wrongdoing, creating legal cover for their assault, while providing trophy evidence of their systematic success. "I'll think about it," Sage promises, her response feeding directly into their operational timeline. Emma's report will convince them that victory is assured, that resistance has crumbled, that Friday's homecoming assembly can proceed with minimal security concerns. But Thursday night brings unexpected complications. Principal Davidson summons Sage to an emergency meeting, his nervous energy suggesting external pressure from multiple directions. "The Ashford family has filed formal complaints," he announces, his words chosen with legal precision. "Allegations of threatening behavior, disruption of educational environment, possible security risks." The administrative ambush reveals the full scope of Elite Four family coordination. Legal documents prepared by expensive attorneys, psychological evaluations from compliant professionals, character references from bought witnesses. The systematic nature of their attack suggests months of preparation rather than spontaneous response. "These are serious allegations," Davidson continues, his role clearly scripted by forces beyond his authority. "Transfer might be the best solution for everyone involved." Sage's response comes with calculated submission. "I just want to graduate and move on. Maybe that would be easier." Her apparent capitulation triggers visible relief from Davidson, confirming that administrative pressure has been intense. His eagerness to resolve the situation reveals how deeply the Elite Four families have penetrated institutional authority. "We could arrange immediate transfer," he suggests, his words revealing the timeline they're working toward. "Perhaps tomorrow would be appropriate, before homecoming activities create additional complications." The offer confirms final intelligence about their operational window. They want Sage gone before Friday's assembly, their victory celebrated without any possibility of counterattack. Her agreement to consider the transfer convinces them that resistance has ended. Friday morning arrives with the artificial excitement of homecoming fever. Decorations cover every surface, while students wear school colors that transform Jefferson High into a festival of manufactured tradition. Sage moves through the hallways like a condemned prisoner, her apparent defeat visible to everyone who bothers to look. The Elite Four hold court near the main entrance, accepting congratulations from younger students while basking in the glow of another successful campaign. Their confidence has reached levels that would be comic if the stakes weren't so serious. Garrett's political instincts have been completely overwhelmed by teenage arrogance, while his companions treat the day like a victory parade. Emma maintains her performance until the final moment, offering last-minute comfort to the girl she's helped destroy. "It's really for the best," she insists, her words carrying genuine conviction that she's participated in something beneficial. The homecoming assembly begins at exactly 2 p.m., with 600 students packed into an auditorium decorated with banners and balloons. Parents live stream proudly, while local media captures footage for evening news broadcasts. Principal Davidson introduces the program with manufactured enthusiasm, his nervousness hidden behind administrative routine. Garrett takes the stage as student body president candidate, his speech carefully crafted to reinforce themes of leadership and traditional values. His words carry double meanings that only insiders understand. References to maintaining standards and protecting our community that celebrate the systematic exclusion of undesirable elements. "Jefferson High has always been a place where good students can thrive," he declares, his voice carrying across the packed auditorium. "Where families know their children are safe from outside influences that might disrupt our educational mission." The applause comes on cue, parents and students responding to familiar themes, while remaining unaware of their deeper implications. His political training shows in perfectly timed pauses and manufactured sincerity that would make his father proud. But as Garrett reaches his speech's climax, Sage Fletcher walks onto the stage with military precision. Her timing disrupts his rhythm, while her presence creates immediate tension throughout the auditorium. The microphone system Jake installed captures every sound with crystal clarity, broadcasting her next words to audiences far beyond Jefferson High. "My name is Sage Fletcher," she begins, her voice carrying across the sudden silence. "And I have something to show you about the real Jefferson High." The first video begins immediately. Security footage from the boys' bathroom, timestamp clearly visible, audio enhanced for perfect clarity. Garrett's voice fills the auditorium with casual cruelty that shocks parents and students alike. She's perfect. No friends, military brat, parents too busy to ask questions. His recorded words continue with devastating effect. Same as the last 7. By Monday, she'll transfer out just like the others, and Daddy's campaign stays clean. The reaction ripples through the audience in waves. Gasps from parents, whispered conversations among students, the particular silence that comes when comfortable illusions shatter against ugly realities. Garrett's face goes white as he realizes their private conversations have been monitored and recorded. But the bathroom footage is only the beginning. Jake's surveillance system has captured months of Elite Four planning sessions, parent coordination meetings, administrative complicity discussions. Each video builds upon the last, creating an overwhelming narrative of systematic predation protected by institutional corruption. Emma Walsh's role becomes clear through intercepted text messages displayed on screen. Her fake friendship exposed through conversations that reveal every manipulative technique, every intelligence-gathering operation, every calculated betrayal. Her face in the audience shows genuine shock, not at being exposed, but at discovering how thoroughly her own communications were monitored. "Emma, I trusted you," Sage says directly into the microphone, her words carrying across the silent auditorium, "and you handed them everything." The personal betrayal resonates with parents who understand the devastating impact of false friendship. Their protective instincts engage as they recognize their own children's vulnerability to similar manipulation. Claire Murphy stands to provide professional context, her counselor credentials lending authority to testimony about systematic harassment patterns. 7 girls in 3 years, she announces, her voice carrying the weight of documented evidence. 7 families driven away by coordinated campaigns of psychological warfare. Principal Davidson attempts to regain control, his administrative authority crumbling as parents demand explanations he cannot provide. His nervous energy becomes panic as he realizes the full scope of evidence being presented. The institutional protection that seemed so solid melts away under public scrutiny. But Garrett's father, Mayor candidate Robert Ashford, makes the critical error of attempting damage control in real time. His political instincts demand immediate response, his training in crisis management overriding common sense. "These allegations are completely fabricated," he declares, taking the microphone with practiced authority. "My son would never engage in such behavior, and anyone making these claims will face the full force of legal action." His threat lands in perfect silence, recorded for posterity and broadcast live to audiences throughout the community. The attempt at intimidation backfires spectacularly as parents recognize the same tactics used against their children. Sage's response comes with military precision. "I'm not the victim here, I'm the reckoning." Her father's military watch, silent since the bathroom assault, chooses that moment to resume ticking. The sound seems amplified in the auditorium's acoustics, marking time's return to normal flow after trauma's disruption. The systematic nature of Elite Four operations becomes undeniable as evidence accumulates. Their assault kit discovered in private lockers, DNA evidence connecting them to previous victims, medical records documenting injuries that were explained away as accidents. The casual nature of their corruption suggests years of practice, a system refined through repetition and success. Federal agents appear in the auditorium doorway as if summoned by the revelations. Their presence transforms what began as a school assembly into a crime scene investigation. The transition from local to federal jurisdiction happens with bureaucratic efficiency that suggests prior coordination. FBI, the lead agent announces, his badge visible throughout the auditorium. We're investigating federal civil rights violations, and this assembly is now considered evidence. The Elite Four's systematic assault pattern has crossed federal boundaries, their use of social media and electronic communications triggering jurisdictions that local protection cannot reach. Their family's influence extends only so far, and federal law enforcement operates beyond local political control. Garrett's arrest happens with particular symbolic weight. His student body president campaign buttons scatter as handcuffs replace his political ambitions. The young man who expected to inherit power instead faces federal prosecution for crimes his privilege could no longer protect. "You saw my tattoo and knew your time was up," Sage reminds him as federal agents read his rights. Her words carry back to that bathroom moment when their power dynamic shifted permanently. The immediate aftermath unfolds with the particular chaos that follows systematic revelations. Parents demand meetings while media swarms the school grounds, their cameras capturing every moment of institutional collapse. The Elite Four's families attempt damage control while federal investigators seize computers and documents throughout the community. Bryce Hawthorne's arrest triggers his uncle's immediate suspension from the police department. The corruption extends far beyond juvenile harassment into adult conspiracy, requiring federal oversight of local law enforcement. His football scholarship evaporates as universities distance themselves from scandal. Blake Sterling's academic achievements become meaningless as his methods are exposed. His mother's school board position becomes untenable as parents demand accountability for systematic failures. His perfect GPA cannot overcome federal criminal charges. Knox Blackwell's social media empire collapses as advertisers flee and platforms suspend accounts associated with harassment campaigns. His family's construction business faces federal contract reviews as their political connections become liabilities rather than assets. Principal Davidson's resignation comes within hours, his institutional cowardice finally facing consequences. The federal investigation reveals administrative knowledge of assault patterns, creating liability that insurance cannot cover. His educational career ends in disgrace rather than retirement, but the victory carries devastating personal cost for those who achieved it. Claire Murphy faces professional investigation for failing to report suspected crimes earlier. Her counselor license threatened by regulatory boards seeking scapegoats. Her pension disappears as legal fees accumulate. Jake O'Connor's early retirement becomes forced termination as his surveillance activities trigger privacy concerns. Federal protection for whistleblowers provides legal immunity, but cannot restore his career or dignity. His veteran status offers some protection, but employment prospects dim. Emma Walsh's social ostracism begins immediately as students realize the scope of her betrayal. Her college applications face scrutiny as recommendations are withdrawn and scholarships reconsidered. The isolation she helped create becomes her own reality. Sage's family endures death threats from Elite Four supporters who blame the messenger rather than acknowledging the message. Her father's military career faces review as publicity threatens operational security. Transfer becomes necessary for family safety rather than administrative convenience. Justice has a cost, Sage reflects during her final day at Jefferson High. and I'll pay it gladly." Her words acknowledge the personal price of speaking truth in systems designed to protect power. The isolation she experienced as a target becomes permanent as a whistleblower. Victory tastes bitter when it requires destroying lives to save them. The community divides along predictable lines: those who celebrate accountability versus those who mourn lost innocence. Family friendships end as parents choose sides, while students navigate social dynamics fundamentally altered by systematic revelations. Media coverage focuses on sensational aspects rather than systemic issues. Headlines emphasize teenage drama rather than institutional failure, federal charges rather than family complicity. The deeper lessons about power and silence become secondary to immediate entertainment value. Legal proceedings stretch across months as federal prosecutors build cases against multiple defendants. The Elite Four face charges ranging from assault to civil rights violations, while their parents confront conspiracy and obstruction allegations. 6 months later, Sage Fletcher stands in Mountain View High's Colorado hallways, her father's watch ticking steadily despite everything that followed Jefferson High's revelation. Federal witness protection provides security, but cannot restore normalcy to lives changed by speaking truth to power. The Elite Four's trials proceed through federal courts, while their systematic crimes ensure lengthy sentences. Garrett's political ambitions end in juvenile detention. His father's mayoral campaign collapsed under scandal's weight. Emma Walsh's prosecution testimony attempts redemption, while Jefferson High undergoes federal reorganization to prevent future abuse. Sage's phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "We know what you did to Garrett. Your new school won't be safe either." Her military watch shows exactly 2:47 p.m., matching Jefferson High's bathroom timestamp perfectly. The systematic nature of Elite Four operations apparently extended beyond their local network. Near the water fountain, a younger girl stumbles as older boys scatter her books, their coordinated laughter carrying cruel familiarity. Their confidence suggests institutional protection. Their body language reveals practiced harassment. Sage checks her watch's steady rhythm. Trauma no longer fracturing time's flow. The choice crystallizes with military clarity: walk away toward safety or step forward toward responsibility. Her father's voice echoes across years of instruction. Sometimes protecting others requires personal sacrifice, but silence enables evil to continue. Sage Fletcher walks toward the younger girl with measured steps, her military bearing announcing intentions. Her intervention begins another cycle of protection and potential sacrifice. The reckoning continues in new forms, carried forward by those who understand that justice requires constant vigilance. Her father's watch ticks steadily toward an uncertain future, where courage must be renewed daily, but the capacity for those who choose to fight never ends.